you guys, it's Cece. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are back with some Raid Shadow Legends, and today we're going to be talking about the Great Hall and affinity bonuses. You can find the affinity bonuses in the Great Hall, which unlocks at level 6. To unlock the affinity bonuses, you are going to need medals, and you get these by doing Arena. I am going to make your classic Arena journey so much easier right now, though. If you are a new player, you actually want to download the game using my link, which you can find in that description box below, or by scanning the QR code on the screen. By downloading the game using my link, I'm going to get you a free legendary Elenaril, and at level 25, you're also going to get Uugo, both of which are really strong champions. And within 72 hours of actually downloading the game, if you enter the code Monkey King, you'll also get Sun Wukong. And by playing the game for 7 days, you'll also get Loki. So this is going to be a huge start for you in Arena with these legendary champions, making it a lot easier. So as you do Classic Arena, you are going to get medals, and that is what you will use to actually unlock and upgrade these affinity bonuses. A quick tip I have for you guys in Arena is to set yourself a weak defense. So set yourself a 1 champion defense monster, and that way you'll be able to farm it a lot easier and get medals faster. I do have other beginner tips, so make sure you actually check out that video, as there's a lot of useful information if you are just starting the game and you don't want to make mistakes or you want to try to avoid them. In this affinity bonuses tab, you're going to see the different stats that they have along with the different affinities. Something important to note is that as you upgrade these, it's actually going to affect your champions within that affinity across all areas of the game. So not just a specific battle mode or one specific area, but it will affect it everywhere. So that is why it is important to actually upgrade these. But the question is, where do you start and what do you focus on? So there are 6 stats that you can actually unlock, which does include HP, attack, defense, resistance, accuracy, and crit damage. This all applies to the base stats of your champions, which start at level 0 and can be upgraded to level 10. The cost of each of these bonuses when you're upgrading the levels is going to get more expensive, so starting with level 1 to 3, you can either use bronze, silver, or gold medals. Once you go from 4 to 6, that is going to be only silver or gold, and then 7 to 10 is only gold medals that you can use. And again, you do get these medals by actually winning battles within Classic Arena, but they are tied to the tier. So for example, you're going to get bronze medals from winning in the bronze tier arena, silver from the silver tier arena, and then gold medals from either the gold or the platinum tier arena. As you're making your way through the game and you're following the Arbiter missions, you are going to come across where it tells you to upgrade specific things in the Great Hall and specific affinity bonuses. So for example, it's going to say upgrade all of the attack bonuses for everything except for the Void affinity, for example. And you may be tempted to say, oh, it's telling me to do attack, I should do all of the attack because that's what it's telling me. Or later on, it may say upgrade an affinity bonus. So you don't actually want to get kind of trapped into that specific thing where it may start you off with attack. That does not mean you want to prioritize your attack going forward, because eventually you're going to have to level one of these up to 10 as one of the Arbiter missions. And you don't want to be wasting your medals on something that might not help you early on as much as another stat actually would. Now, I'm not telling you to completely ignore attack and don't upgrade it at all. Eventually you will, but we want to prioritize the right things first and actually upgrade those before you get into something like attack, which is arguably going to be one of your least important stats to really focus into. So you'll see mine, I've only done the bare minimum, what it required me to do for the Arbiter mission, and then you'll see I've already started putting in my next medals into accuracy. And that is going to be the first stat that you actually want to focus on, is accuracy, for a number of reasons. The first reason that you want to actually focus in on your accuracy is because that is what your champions are going to need to land their debuffs. It is something that is going to be really important for you to actually get on your champions, especially as you're making your way through your dungeons and making your way through clan boss and anything that really requires you to actually land debuffs so that your champions are able to do more damage and you're able to take them down easier. As we're going through dungeons, obviously we're wanting to farm the highest level that we can to get the best gear possible to make our champions better and rinse and repeat. So that kind of brings us into gear. It's no secret, as an early game player, you do not get the best gear. You're going through the campaign mode, you're equipping what you can from there, and then maybe you start doing some dragons and you start doing some ice golem and you're like, okay, my gear is getting a little better, but still trying to get really strong accuracy on your champions through that beginner gear is such a grind. And honestly, it will waste a lot of your time, your energy, and your resources, but you know you're going to need the accuracy anyway. So rather than you having to like grind to get the right accuracy on your champs through gear alone, make your life a lot easier and do this through the Great Hall and the affinity bonuses. So the question is, which affinity do you actually focus in on? And this is where it's going to vary a little bit, but you are going to want to try to focus in on one affinity at a time. Again, that might depend on your medals. So for example, if you are trying to max out your magic affinity first, but you don't have enough medals, but you still have some of the bronze ones, then maybe you start in with your spirit or your void or your force. But one thing to note is think of where you actually have the most champions in. If you are not summoning void champions or using them, you probably don't want to focus in on that affinity. If you have a lot of magic, which a lot of people typically do, that's going to be the blue one. And if that's where the majority of your champions are, that's going to be the place that you want to start. So you are going to want to take a look at your champions, see who you have, who you're using, what affinity they belong to, and really focus in on that one. Again, until you kind of cap it where you are with your medals on there, then you can start working on another, but don't try to spread them too thin and keep it even the whole way through. Really focus in on where you have the most champions, and that will be the affinity that you're going to want to start with accuracy. So my question to you guys then is, if you've already upgraded your affinities, what was the affinity that you focused on first? And what was the stat that you focused in on? Did you start with accuracy? And which one did you put everything into, or did you diversify? Comment that down below and let us know. So for myself, I already know which champions I have and what I want to focus in on. So if you've used my code to actually download the game, you got Elenaril, and you'll know that she is a magic affinity. So that is where I'm going to start first, because obviously I want to improve her accuracy. My next one is probably going to be Spirit, because that is where Sun Wukong and Loki belong to. But then I also did get lucky, and I do have a Void champ. And if you've seen that video, then you kind of know how that summoning went, which I'll talk about that another time as well. But for me, you'll see that I actually will want to invest more in my Void. And I actually don't have a lot of Force champs right now, so that might be my last one that I'm focusing in on. Which is why it is going to vary depending on where your champions actually belong to for what you want to start in on. And you'll see along the side here, as you're upgrading the levels, what you're actually going to get from it. So with the accuracy, if we're looking at level 1, that's going to give you +5. 2 is going to give you +10, and then +15, 20, 30, 40, all the way up to +80. So if you can get +80 accuracy just from the affinity bonus, you'll see how much less you actually need from your gear. And then if we go over to the crit damage, so you're starting at 2% and then 4%, 6%, 8%, all the way up to 25%. That is the same if we are looking at the attack. So you're going to start at 2%, 3%, 4%. That one goes all the way up to 20%. So looking at all of the different stats, it's going to let you know what that max level is actually going to give you, but it gives you an idea of how much less you'll actually be required to get from your gear. So now that you've leveled up your accuracy, it's all full. You're like, what do I do next? What is the next stat? And this is where some debate is going to come in, because some people may say you want to go resistance next, you want to go crit damage, HP, defense, attack. Everyone's going to kind of have a different opinion. So I'm actually curious to hear from you guys, and I want you guys to comment down below and let us know after accuracy, what was the next stat that you focused in on? For myself, my next stat I will focus on after accuracy is going to be crit damage, and that is so that I can help my damage dealers out more and I can get through my dungeons a little bit faster. And even though like I'm doing crit damage to affect their damage output and everything, I'm still going to keep attack as last, as that's probably going to be the last one I want to prioritize. So resistance is going to depend on your support units and how much you really need. And again, that's going to vary on your champs and your account. So I think 2 of the most important stats, of course, is going to be accuracy first. And then I do think crit damage would be a next one. So let's go ahead and summarize all of that with some quick tips. So number 1, set yourself a weak defense. That is a 1 champion defense for arena. Make it a lot easier for you to actually be able to farm that. Number 2, make sure your arena tokens do not sit 10 out of 10. That's right, always be using them. Always check back between your campaign, your dungeoning, everything. Take a look, make sure that you're using them, and utilize the free refresh. If you're going through and their attack power is a lot higher and you're not able to do it, wait for the free refresh and then rinse and repeat. Number 3 is to focus in on accuracy as your first stat. Yes, do your arbiter missions, but do the bare minimum that it is asking you to do and requiring. Otherwise, dump everything into your accuracy, focusing in on the affinity you have the most champions in. Next, I'm going to suggest the crit damage, but I do want to hear from you guys what you think should be the next stat that you focus in after accuracy. And then after that crit damage, I'm going to go HP, defense. I will leave my resistance for last. And again, keeping in mind like what affinity you're actually focusing on and what champions you have within the affinity. I hope this video helped you out in understanding affinity bonuses a little bit better and trying to figure out where you should prioritize your stats. If you have some advice in terms of the affinity bonuses and what people should focus on, I do want to hear that. Leave that all down in the comments below. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so you're able to follow my journey along as a beginner player with Raid Shadow Legends. I can't wait to see you guys next time. Bye! Next level.